We live in a world where news breaks every second and events happen in the twinkling of an eye, where people get high on socio-political issues, especially when they are affected, but there is little time, limited platforms to discuss them. Here comes the platform, Thompson and the Gang, a no-holds-barred socio-political discussion program where we put in perspective some of the major happenings in the polity during the week and make your opinions count. It is engaging, objective, and analytical.
I'm your host. My name is Thompson Taiwo. Join me and my gang of public analysts on the program Thompson and the Gang every Saturday, 7 to 9 a.m. on Rave 91.7 FM. Thompson and the Gang, more than just a conversation.
In the land of the blind, the one-eyed fool is king. Mediocrity is the jewel in the ruler's crown. Corruption of the mind, blood upon the hand. Every leader is a sellout, every follower a broken soul. Oh, beware, good fella, you're now in a lion's den. And no manner of prayer is gonna save your pride. See, they'll mash you and kick you and dance around your pain. Yeah, yeah, yeah. As you lie upon the fangs of the vicious beast. Like the vultures on the hill, awaiting upon the dying. They suck from the poor, the weak, even the little child. They claw their way up the ladder with a foul smell. Greed is their banner and wickedness be their shield. So beware, good fella, you're now in a lion's den. This land where no one speaks when evil is done. Oh, we cower in fear and quietly slink away. Hey, hey, hey. Cause no one dares to look in the eyes of the beast. And mother's calling. She's calling the children of all. The wind is turning. So the word to be fought will not be with a gun. We transform our minds and the works of our hands. Together lift up the arms of Mother Justice. Hey. Merit and excellence in everything that we do. But beware, good people, they won't go silently. This army of evil will fight to the very last. For the living downtrodden and the ones yet unborn, we shall sweep away the wrath of the stinking beast.
Thank you very much indeed for joining us on today's edition of Thompson and the Gang. On your moment, the final radio station Rave 91.7 FM. Thompson Taiwo is my name. Thompson and the Gang is a socio-political discussion program where we dissect some of the major happenings in the polity during the week with a special focus on happenings in our locality. On Thompson and the Gang this morning, we will continue to look at the impact of the coronavirus pandemic on the global health system, and particularly the health system in Nigeria, and also the economic impact of coronavirus on world economy, with a special focus on the economy of Nigeria. And at the same time, we'll also be talking about the Supreme Court throwing out APC's application on Zamfara governorship election. These are the two topics we will be discussing this morning in today's edition of Thompson and the Gang. In a moment, defining radio station. Well, COVID-19 has continued to ravage the world. The cases are increasing, and some countries are, West East at the moment. Talk of Spain, Italy, and even a country like Germany, and even in Nigeria, the cases keep rising, and it is quite unfortunate. In Nigeria, as at 11:55 p.m. yesterday, there were 81 total confirmed cases in this particular country, and different governments of the world are stepping up to the plate, seeing what they can do to ensure that they curb the spread of COVID-19 in the world. And also the Nigerian government is also playing its part, and the state government across different states, the government across different states in Nigeria are also doing everything they could. Markets have been shut down, some businesses are shut down, even some states in Nigeria are closing their borders, and some people have questioned the appropriateness of this action. But then all these things are being done to ensure that the spread of COVID-19 is curbed. And as the figures are at the moment, we have some highly placed individuals also who have contracted COVID-19. As we speak, we have the Chief of Staff to the President, Abba Kyari, who has tested positive to COVID-19. Bauchi State Governor Mohamed Bala, Edo State House of Assembly Speaker also tested positive, and the wife of the Canadian Prime Minister, even Prince Charles, who is the heir to the British throne. And an African football legend, Farah, died of COVID-19, and even Manu Dibango, one of the greatest saxophonists that the African continent has produced. At the same time, yesterday, the British Prime Minister Boris Johnson announced that he is tested positive to COVID-19. A few hours later, British Health Secretary Matt Hancock also tested positive. Soon after, England's Chief Medical Officer Chris Whitty said he was experiencing symptoms of a COVID-19 infection. So for different countries, we have different figures like that. But then there are responses from different governments, trying to see how they can stamp out this pandemic, across the world. And Nigeria also is not lagging behind. But then there have been questions about, the level of preparedness of the Nigerian government, and of course some of the measures being taken by both the state and the federal government in Nigeria to curb the spread of this virus. Some people have asked a question, are these measures, put in place by the government, are they actually enough? Is the Nigerian government really taking this thing seriously? And even the people, are they complying with the measures put in place by both the state and the federal government in Nigeria? We'll take a look at all of this this morning on today's edition of Thompson and the Gang on your moment, the fine radio station Rave 91.7 FM. And to discuss this with me this morning, I have Dr. Omotosho Oluyemi Jr. He's a lecturer and also a public affairs analyst. Thank you for coming in, Thompson and the Gang, this morning.
Thank you very much, and good morning, Nigerians.
And also architect Goke Omigbodo is the deputy chairman of Social Democratic Party in Osun State. Thank you for joining us.
Good morning.
At the same time, I have Mr. Ayo Ologun. He's a journalist.
Good morning, Nigerians.
Yeah, thank you. Now, let's start this conversation with architect Omigbodo. COVID-19 cases are rising globally. Italy, Spain, Germany, and also the US are the worst hit at the moment. The cases in Nigeria as at 11:55 p.m. yesterday were 81 total confirmed cases, and both the state and the federal government have taken precautionary measures to curb this spread of this pandemic. Banning public gatherings, closing markets. Some workers, some categories of workers have been told to stay at home, and businesses have shut down in Nigeria. Now, these cases, keep rising, and a lot of people are worried. Will these cases ever calm down anytime soon? Why are we having a spike in cases from Nigeria to other parts of the world?
Well, it's because no country thus far has used a total approach to curtailing the coronavirus. Even take Italy, for instance. Lombardy region, Veneto region were the first regions to have the thing. Veneto region went ahead, to do a lot of testings. If they found anybody that tested positive, they got everybody within the family, all the contacts, put them together, did all the testing and all that. Unfortunately, the Lombardy region was waiting for people who already had symptoms. So they were not looking at the asymptomatic ones, those who didn't yet exhibit the symptoms. And so the thing kept on spreading there. And that's exactly, and then they didn't lock down quickly. If you listen to President Trump, somebody showed me a video clip of what President Trump said over the weeks, about the coronavirus. It was almost like denial at the beginning. Then it went on to we are fully prepared for it. And now it's becoming, we are helpless, we need help. So, and that's the same thing that we are having in Nigeria right now. By now, we should have locked down completely in Nigeria. By now, nobody should be moving. By now, I should be participating on this program by a conference telephone call. I should not have been allowed to come here today. By now, everybody should be contained completely inside. By now, there should be a lot more test kits than probably they have in Nigeria today. I don't know how many test kits, but when you're talking of 81 people that have it in Nigeria right now, I laugh, because I suspect that right now, without really having any empirical evidence, but just relying on what has happened in other countries, we are not likely to have anything less than 5,000 cases in Nigeria as I'm speaking to you right now. And now you'll find a situation a few days ago. If you check the map, the statistics, the tables of the incidence of coronavirus, you saw China on the topmost part of the, China has a large population and a big, huge land area. And then you found Italy, in fact, there was a time it was Iran. Now Italy came second. Italy, population just about 60 million. Landmass not as big as ours, because I will always want to come back home to refer to Nigeria, because Nigeria is my own Jerusalem. I'm concerned about Nigeria right now. So I want to see areas of comparison, and apply what, spatial statisticians will call contiguity. Where are those areas where we have things in common, so that we can check those areas and begin to act very fast. Now, in comparison, the US also has a very huge landmass, much bigger than that of Nigeria, and a population also bigger than ours. And so within a few days now that they had the first case in the US too, US has overtaken China, Italy, and everybody put together, and they have over 100,000 cases as at 11:55 p.m. last night, that Nigeria claims to have 81 cases. So I am afraid, do we have the kind of technology that China used to be fumigating whole cities? If we don't have that, why don't we apply the Veneto approach right from now? Complete, total lockdown. Everybody should stay indoors. Pray with your people at home. No more church services, no more mosque services. No more shrine. If you want to put your little god, if you believe in shrines, put it at the corner of your house. Let only families do things together, and let us watch out for the older ones, because again you find out that the bigger your head, then the more the headache. For us in Nigeria, most unfortunately for us right now, they say, because we are not too sure of the statistics, that the life expectancy is about 54 years. So we really don't have many old people. Now, it is not as if coronavirus does not travel around everybody, but even in all the countries where a lot of people have died, it is people above 70 years of age, in fact 80 years, that have died the most. Now, ask me, in Italy, life expectancy in Italy is about 83 years, okay? Even higher than that of the US at about 77 years. But check all the people, about 80% of the people that died are those that are in the top range of the life expectancy of those places. So which means, again, in Nigeria, let us take care of our older ones. Now, I'm a little bit afraid for the case of Nigeria, because the first Nigerian that died, just 63 years old. As far as I'm concerned, that's a small boy, relative to what you expect ordinarily. And I mean, I can say that conveniently because relative to my age too. He's in my age group. Yes, slightly older than I am, but he's still in my age group, and I'm afraid. So if a 63-year-old Nigerian should die, and in other parts of the world, most of the people that are dying are above 80-something, 70-something, and that is the top of their... So it means the few people that have managed to surpass that life expectancy in Nigeria and are in their 70s and their 80s should be most protected from their grandchildren, because those grandchildren may be carrying all kinds of things that nobody will notice it on them. They want to hug grandma, they want to play with grandpa. They are killing those grandpas and grandmas.
Okay. Now, let me go to Dr. Omotosho. You've listened to Akutumi Gordon talking about the need for the country to totally shut down. Now, the federal government and the state government, they've come out to say, okay, well, we are banning public gatherings. Okay, don't go to churches, don't go to mosques. Worship your God in the corners of your room. And at the same time, they've ensured that markets are being closed, particularly popular markets, being closed and all. But then people are also questioning the level of compliance, of people, applying with these stay-at-home, order. Don't travel except you have something essential to do. Are people actually, complying with all of this?
Thank you very much. I want to thank Architect Omigbodu for that good analysis. But let me tell Nigerians that this classified, I'm trying to let you know how you can view it. It is dangerous. With 500,000 people or 500,000 cases in about 170 countries already, including Nigeria. Of course, the statistics in Nigeria is shredded in secrecy. It is not correct, to lend credence to what Architect Omigbodu just
But
said.
then that's the confirmed cases that we have now.
I'm telling you, it's dangerous for everybody. That the developed countries are crying, the underdeveloped countries are crying, the emerging economies are shouting. And so, it is so dangerous. And Nigerians are carrying on as if nothing is happening. As I was coming here, mechanic workshops are opened. Stores are opening. People are selling their goods. People are shouting Ejigbo, Ejigbo, Ogumosho, Ogumosho as I was coming to this place. People are moving. They are not obeying the social distance rules. No government official to enforce those rules. Government is making pronouncements and they are doing nothing about it. People are traveling from one state to the other as if nothing is happening. When something dangerous is happening every minute, every second, as we are talking here, people are dying. The same mistake that was made between, Veneto and Lombardy is what we are going to have, God forbid, because we are just doing nothing. I tell you, all government pronouncements here are not being obeyed. Nigerians are still looking for garlic. They are looking to solve their problems. Some are saying you can drink some spoons of red oil that will cure the disease. Are this true? People are still going to churches. In my house this morning, a well-educated man called the prayer in a mosque. And I challenged him immediately. What's this? Well, I mean, we are carrying on. Look at the situation according to who? Who is saying that the first, the situation, you know, of the who is saying that the situation is increasing at an exponential rate. The first 100,000 cases took 67 days. The second 100,000 cases took 11 days. The third 100,000 cases took 4 days. And the fourth 100,000 cases took 2 days. How can you not tell me there's only 81 people that, you know, have been confirmed in Nigeria? Even the index case in Osun was almost mismanaged. Almost. The man traveled from Lagos to this place. He was calling the commissioner. The commissioner was picking his call. The commissioner said, through frank talk in your station here, that he spoke to this man even when he was in Ikire. The man came straight. He asked him to come straight to Azubi. The man went there. And what happened? They took the symptom. I mean, they took the samples and asked him to go and stay in the hotel. That is dangerous from a commissioner of health in a state when this has been declared a pandemic and people are dying every day. That's a man, I'm coming, that declares his interest. Now, the man went there and you know what happened?
Hold on, please, Dr. Motosho. You know, the commissioner said that the man called him and he told the man to go to a Shubiaro. You know, was that not the best?
I am not.
Was that not the best thing to do?
I am. It's not the best.
So if the commissioner had not told the man to go to a Shubiaro, I think that is when we should have, you know, issues with that.
Thank you very much.
He told him to go to the hospital, to the appropriate place
Thank you.
where tests can be carried out.
Thank you.
And for the man to even to have called the commissioner, don't you think the man was patriotic enough?
Thank you. The man was very patriotic, and I thank him for what he has done. Now, I'm not blaming the commissioner. I am blaming the system. The commissioner who asked him to come had good intentions. But where are the facilities? I tell you, if the commissioner has a place to isolate that man, he will have isolated him. If the Asubiari people have a place to isolate him, they will have isolated him, because the man told them, look, I don't want my family to be infected. I don't want anybody to be infected. He was telling them, which means if they have put him in an isolated facility, he would have been happy. But nothing happened. He has to go to an hotel. We thank God all the people in the hotel has been tested negative. We thank God for it. But I'm giving you this picture to know that it is not only the literates, it is not only the downtrodden, even the elites are taking this coronavirus with levity. Okay. It is unfortunate.
Now, let me go to Mr. Logan now. You know, talking about the level of compliance of the people, because Dr. Motosho has said that people are not complying. Why are people not complying?
I think we should be very clear when we talk about the question of compliance, because what are they complying to? The question is, when the Nigerians are conscious of life, that's the truth. Nobody wants to die. But we don't have information. If you ask me, from what I've seen, I returned from Lagos a couple of days ago and I passed through a number of places where markets were asked to close down. Computer Village, the Ogba Ikeja area, that was the route through which I left Lagos. And I can tell you that there was a high level of compliance. All the shops were closed. The streets were deserted except for a few yellow buses here and there. But if you come down to Osun, which is where we are, let's use it as an index case, and we're talking about compliance, the only thing Osun has asked people to do is not to go to worship places, which is church and mosque. Major market closed down. People have not been asked in Osun to sit back at home. Movement has not been restricted. Businesses have not been asked to shut down, except for churches and markets and schools. So if you say you're on the way here, you saw a mechanic workshop open, you don't blame the man. Because as far as law is concerned, there is no law that has asked him to stay at home. So when we're talking about level of compliance, it should be treated relatively. And I would say that our government should be proactive. When I woke up this morning and I read through a number of news and I saw what your state is doing, Ogun State is doing, and a lot of them is good. But if Ogun State has closed border, or your state has closed their land border, no interstate movement. In fact, a curfew has been declared from dusk to dawn. And Osun, for example, is in the middle of all this. And our neighbors have practically shut down. And we are believing nothing is happening. Then you don't blame the people.
Okay.
And
Now, before you go on, even you listen to Dr. Motosho, he said that he even had someone who called a prayer, and obviously people went there, and even yesterday there were some reported cases of people even going out to pray. And this is against the ban on the public gathering put in place by the Osun State government.
Exactly. I witnessed that thing in my area this morning. I woke up to a mosque around my area, and I had people calling for prayers. And the question I asked myself is, people that would wake up to go to such mosques, do they even have an idea of how deadly this epidemic is? Which brings us to the question of information. We are not doing enough in terms of awareness. I still interacted with a number of people 2 days ago who told me, oh boy, this thing is scam. They are just trying to use it to make money. And it took me more than 40 minutes to get such people convinced of the veracity of this pandemic we are talking about. I can tell you that a majority of people still believe that there is nothing like corona, even in Osun State where we live, which brings us to the question of information and awareness. How many times in the last couple of days have we seen a government agency or whatever going around the streets, going around the major streets in Osun State to make proclamations and to tell the people what the virus is all about? People do not, even when you see people wear masks across the street, you laugh. Some of them we don't wear it correctly. Some of them even wear the wrong thing. You go to Olaya roundabout and you see people selling ordinary cloth with elastic put to the side, and they will be selling 200, 300, and people are buying, putting it on their face, thinking they are preventing a virus. You are preventing nothing because it does not have a sieve. A number of questions are what we need to begin to answer, and I will call the government poor. I will call them poor because they are not doing enough.
Okay.
If people are not aware, we are likely to have things get out of hand beyond what we have at time. Because let me quickly lay credence to what Dr. Moshoso said. We are like somebody says, Nigerians are not joking. We are the joke itself. Because we don't seem to know what it means when you have an outbreak of an epidemic in a community. Nobody is safe. Not the rich, not the poor. In Nigeria, as we speak, we have confirmed cases by official record 81. But from what I know as a journalist, from what you and I have access to, the cases in Nigeria is far beyond that. We have a situation whereby a number of high-profile Nigerians attended the birthday of a Nigerian ambassador somewhere in the UK in the midst of all this. How many of such people have been highlighted? Do we even have the record of their names? How many of them have been tested either positive or negative? The MCCA award held in Lagos, where there was a report of a carrier or more attending such an event. Of course, a lot of hugs, handshakes, and the likes will have exchanged. Do we even have a record of how many people attended that event? How many of them have been isolated? How many of them have been treated? How many of them are under isolation? Nobody asking questions. The chief of staff to the president tested positive. 3 members of his staff in the service has tested positive. Do we even have a complete record of how many people have come in contact with him within the period of days he returned from Germany to Nigeria? It is in high figure. He interacted with governors, he interacted with ministers, he interacted with people in his offices, he interacted with people in the presidency. He traveled across states. He was in Kogi, he was in Kano, and a number of other places. How many of these records tracing have we been able to achieve? And we are here believing that we are safe. Nobody is safe. We have come to a level whereby a disease has come to level everyone. And until the government begins to lead from the front by giving out adequate information and taking adequate precautionary measures, nobody is safe.
Okay, now, actually, to me, they've been talking about awareness. According to them, there's a lack of awareness. But then, if you look at the way this virus has ravaged the world, and the way people are talking about it, even I believe now that even a 4-year-old child, if you ask such a child what a coronavirus means, or whether the child is aware of coronavirus, again, the child should be able to tell you yes, because people in town today, they will say koro, something like that. So it shows that they're aware. Is this really a lack of awareness, or the refusal of the people to comply? Because some people actually pin in economic angle to this. If you tell people to comply, not to open their shops and stuff like that, not to gather, how do they feed? Because the level of compliance in developed countries cannot be